Do you keep saying that you want to feel clear, strong, and free, but you keep waking up as the version of you who's still afraid, still doubting, or still stuck? If so, this can be discouraging. In this video, I'm going to show you how to collapse that loop and become the version of you who's already on the other side of the fire. This isn't about acting as if. This is about manifesting from identity and stepping fully into the frequency of your future self. What if you've been manifesting from the wrong self, the self that's exhausted, the self that's still proving, hoping, or still trying to deserve it? You can't create a new world while dragging your old identity behind you. You have to collapse the timeline and start showing up as the one who's already crossed through. If you're ready to start embodying your best self, like, comment, and subscribe. We're becoming the fire forged, and it helps others walking the same path to find the flame. Want tools from this series? Grab the PDF companion guide linked in the description, or find it inside my free circle community under resources at thefire.circle.so. Now, most people focus on what they want. I want peace. I want freedom. I want to feel strong. But your nervous system and subconscious don't respond to your desires. They respond to your default identity. If your default self says, I'm overwhelmed, you're subconsciously attracting more chaos. If your identity is, I'm unworthy, you'll unconsciously sabotage every good thing that tries to enter your life. Your manifestations follow your embodiment. So the question isn't, how do I get what I want? It's actually, who do I need to become so that what I want is inevitable? We collapse timelines not through positive thinking, but through embodiment and energetic rehearsal. Here's how you do it. Our first tool, meet your future self. This is a visualization ritual. The first step is to build a relationship with the version of you who already exists on the other side of the fire. This isn't about imagining or fantasizing. It's about training your nervous system to recognize what it feels like to be in alignment with that identity. So close your eyes, not right now, but this is how you do it. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and picture the version of you who's already through it. Ask yourself this about your future self. What do they wear? How do they carry themselves when they walk? What kind of thoughts run through their mind? How do they talk to themselves? And what choices feel obvious for them? The ones that maybe feel hard for you now. And how do they feel about life, about their path, about who they are? Spend 3 minutes a day with this version of you and say this out loud or in your heart. I choose to match this version of me now. In addition to visualizing this future version of yourself, you can also write all of these things down. They help solidify and remind you later of what it is that you're drawing in. This is also a part of a manifestation practice called scripting. And here's what's crucial. Once you've clarified those details, what they wear, how they speak, how they feel, don't stop at observing them. Start feeling them. If that future version of you feels confident, summon the energy of confidence into your body as you visualize. Let yourself feel what they would feel like. Let it move through your chest and your spine and your walk and your voice. One way to do this is to picture yourself doing one single thing on repeat that naturally evokes that feeling. Maybe it's speaking on a stage. Maybe it's holding a boundary. Maybe it's sitting in peace and not spiraling. This isn't make-believe. This is energetic entrainment. This is you resonating with a future frequency, pulling it from the 5D down into the 3D through felt experience. You're creating magnetic alignment before the result ever arrives. And the more you root into that feeling, the more you start making decisions from that place, which brings us directly to the next tool. Tool number 2 is all about taking action. Start by asking yourself this daily. What would the strongest version of me do? This is where we begin to collapse the gap between vision and action. Every time that you feel triggered, unsure, or tempted to numb, procrastinate, overgive, or spiral, pause and ask yourself, what would the strongest version of me do right now? The version of me who's already crossed through the fire. You don't have to do something huge. Sometimes it's as simple as setting a boundary. Sometimes it's choosing to sit with the discomfort instead of reacting to it. Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, but that must be backed up by assumption and action. You can feel into the end result, but if you continue taking actions that align with your old self, you reinforce your current state. That's why this tool matters. It trains your body to move in agreement with your vision. You start taking action from the version of you who already exists, not to earn your future, but to anchor it in your nervous system. And every time that you do that, you collapse the space between who you've been and who you're becoming. That's embodiment. That's timeline collapse. And while action begins to close the gap between your vision and your reality, it's not just about doing. It's also about rewiring who you believe you are at your core, because every action that you take is downstream from your internal script and beliefs about yourself. If your subconscious identity is still rooted in lack, fear, or striving, you'll keep defaulting to those patterns, no matter how much effort you make externally. That's why our next tool is all about rewriting that script from the inside out. Neville Goddard called this your self-concept, the deeply held image that you carry of who you are and what you expect from life. He taught that your outer world will always conform to the internal assumption. So if your concept of self doesn't shift, your reality won't either. If you're unfamiliar with Neville's work and want to dive deeper into the roots of this teaching, I'll leave a link in the description to his books on Amazon. They're worth every page. Now we get into tool number 3, which is our fire affirmations for identity, rewriting your nervous system, your body, and your energy field. They all respond to repetition. That's how we rewire our default identity. Use what I call fire affirmations, identity-rooted statements that you speak into your field daily. To give you a few examples, here are some directly from the works of Neville Goddard and Florence Scovel Shinn. I now walk in the assumption that I am what I desire to be. That one's Neville. I cast this burden on the Christ within and I go free. That's Florence Scovel Shinn. There is no competition on the spiritual plane. What is mine cannot be taken from me. Florence Scovel Shinn. I dare to assume that I am what I want to be, and this compels everyone to play their part. This one's inspired by Neville Goddard. These are more than affirmations. They're commands to your subconscious. Let your words carry the conviction of truth, not just hope. These aren't wishes, they're declarations. And the more often that you speak them, the more natural they'll become. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn called speaking the word, the practice of using affirmative statements to align with spiritual truth and reshape the subconscious. In her book, Your Word is Your Wand, she wrote, every great work, every big accomplishment has been brought into manifestation through holding to the vision. And often just before the big achievement comes, apparent failure and discouragement. Neville Goddard echoed this exact principle with a different lens. He taught that your words must reflect the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you affirm from a state of already having received, your subconscious begins to accept it as reality because it doesn't actually know the difference. And the world will adjust accordingly. Your words aren't just motivational. They are directional. They're the blueprint that you hand to the universe. You're not asking the universe for permission. You're affirming who you already are. Write your own if these don't quite fit, but make them identity rooted, not goal based. Speak from the energy of embodiment. Our fourth tool is collapsing the old timeline with ceremony. Let's take a moment and talk about why things like prayer, spells, rain dances, and ritual ceremonies have held power across cultures and time periods. The truth is, they all work off the same energetic principle. The subconscious mind responds deeply to symbolism, and the quantum field responds to intention. When we use ceremony to mark a shift, we're doing more than going through the motions. We're anchoring belief into the body. We're impressing the subconscious mind. We're sending a clear embodied signal into the field that something has shifted and changed. And that's when things start to move. This is why symbolic action, like a ritual, have always been a powerful way to transition from one identity into another. It's not just about emotion or imagination. It's about translating your inner choice into physical reality. That's how the inner becomes outer. That's how thought becomes form. And I would go so far as to say This is why you were told to stay away from ritual practices and ceremonial magic, powerful practices such as manifestation that have been demonized throughout the years. Because when you have these things in your hands, you hold real power. But you don't need to fear it. You just need to understand it and utilize it with respect. These tools were never meant to be feared. They were meant to be wielded with care. Which brings us here. Sometimes we need a moment of ritual to anchor the shift. Ceremony is how we mark a death and celebrate a rebirth. Here's a simple one that you can use. Light a candle and write a letter to the version of you that you're ready to let go of, the one who helped you survive but can't take you where you're going. Then burn it safely. As you do, say these words: I release you with love. I no longer need you for survival. I choose embodiment now. So, what happens when you actually anchor your Phoenix identity? You begin to make choices that reflect who you're becoming, not who you've been. You don't wait to feel ready. You act with alignment. You stop chasing validation and you become your own proof. You don't hope to be chosen. You choose yourself every single day. This is what makes you magnetic, not because you're trying to be high vibe, but because you're clear. You are the one who's already arrived, and life will start to organize itself around that truth. It sounds simple, right? Because it is, but simple doesn't always mean easy. If you want support embodying the version of you who's thriving, not surviving, and you're ready to actually do the work of it, you can check the description below to apply for one-to-one work with me directly. And if you're not 100% sure yet, but you want to explore more of these embodiment tools in real time, I share a new practice every week, plus a daily practice inside of my free circle community where we're rising through the fire together. You walked through the fire. Now walk like someone who survived it. Stop manifesting from the ashes and start moving from the resurrected you. Your future self isn't waiting for you to be perfect. They're waiting for you to say, I'm ready. Let's do this now. Like, comment, and subscribe if this video helped you. It makes it so more souls find the flame. If this resonated, I encourage you to watch the video that I'm linking here on the screen. I think that you'll feel seen there too. I'll see you in the next one.